Hi, everybody. Nice. I got a two-hand wave from Kristen. I like that. Nice. Cameras, please. I will insist. What do you guys think the karma is to have everyone turn on their cameras? Or what is the karma for me to have people who don't turn on their cameras?
Maybe seeing person when you have in front of them.
Say that one more time.
See them. Like sometimes we are in person with people and we don't see them even if they are in front of us.
Hmm. I like that. I think that's a good idea. Like actually recognize when people are in front of you. Hmm. Maria, I like yours. You're not doing something that you've been asked to do for no good reason at all. Just ignoring your teachers. I don't know. It helps me. Please help me. Please. It helps me see your faces. Okay, cool. So welcome back to another exciting hour of Lam Rim. We are picking up a bit of speed. Strangely, someone just sent me a private message and said, "You don't turn your camera on." And maybe I take a lot of meetings from the car, so maybe that's it. Anyway, so a couple things, just logistical things. We just figured out this week the best way for me to, if you're doing the actual translations yourself and you're wanting to practice, we just figured out how to get me that information so I can review what you guys wrote and what you're trying. So I will be starting to provide some feedback on your translations so you can learn as well. So I'm not exactly sure how it's going to look yet. And again, you're not required to do any translations. You can just come, you can enjoy. If you want to do the translations in your own language, it's going to be difficult for me to do something with it, but I will Google Translate my best. All right. Um, but I think it's very valuable even to do the exercise because then you're getting used to what the language feels like, and it takes a long time, you know, even if you just pick up a few words, it really, over time, it just kind of sinks in. And strangely, what happens is then all of a sudden you can just read a sentence and you didn't realize you could read a sentence. So I highly recommend it. But just coming to class and listening and then doing your practices is more than significant. It's sufficient, rather. So last class, we were in a section, we're still in the initial section, of course. Um, but we're going through all of this discussion of what is the relationship of shamatha, meaning single pointed meditation. But it's not just single pointed meditation, it's a state of meditation. And I looked up the definition last night just because I looked it up. And the whole discussion is making an argument for why we need to reach this high state of meditation and why we should do it first. Like there's this whole long, it just keeps going and going. So it's a little bit, I don't know, it's almost like Pamonka Rinpoche wanted to keep reminding us why, like why. And the main thing is that shamatha is, yes, it is single pointed concentration. but it also has other features where it has like a physical and mental bliss that um, that arises in that. And it's not just, it's a state of mind, basically. And it actually becomes the meditative platform to be able to see emptiness directly. So we're making all of these arguments why we should meditate, why we should meditate first, why we should learn to do this first. Um, and so it's just a list of benefits, something like the beginning of almost every book, right? The benefits of bodhicitta, the benefits of shamatha. Like, why should you get there? And one of the questions I want to ask you all is to think about is, you know, is shamatha a good translation of shine, right? Should we be using a Sanskrit word for this particular state of meditation? Because oftentimes one of the our main idea in the mixed nuts and the translations in the translation program is to write things in ways that people can understand them. Write them using language that's accessible to everybody. And oftentimes we find in Buddhist translations is it becomes highly technical language. And so if it just becomes a bunch of words that nobody understands, what's the point of the translation? Like if people can't actually understand what you're saying, what's the point of having it? Right. So my question for you, and this is just to think about, is, is there a different word, or should we use the word shamatha, the Sanskrit word, for this particular state? And if we do use it, should we put a footnote in? Should we explain it? Nice, Maria. You know, because it is the meditative platform that includes single pointed concentration mixed in with a mental and physical bliss. It's a kind of peace that you stay in, effortless, and then you can use it to see emptiness directly. Is there a word that encapsulates that? Right? Is there one word for all of that? And that's why I'm using shamatha as a preliminary translation. The word that Art Engel uses, Art Engel was a student with Geshe Michael, with Ken Rinpoche. He uses a word called quiescence. All right. It's a word in English that no one uses. It's like found in a dictionary that was probably used. Actually, let's look up the origin of that word, because that's what we do at Mixed Nuts. We look up the origins. Let's look this up. Why to, let's see here. But I need to look at the Oxford English Dictionary to get information. All right, let's see what Oxford. Etymologies. Hold on. Okay, the first time that word was used is in the 1800s, 1700s. Yeah, so this word quiescence, the last time the Oxford English Dictionary recognizes it being used is 1995 in one academic article. Okay. So how do I spell it? You spell it like this. It's in the chat. So it's kind of a dumb word to use in English because nobody uses it. So if nobody uses it, do we brand it or do we pick another word like shamatha? So anyway, I'm thinking of using shamatha. Maybe we can debate it, but I just as a translator, these are kind of choices. These are choices that we're going to have to make. So Pabonka Rinpoche is making all of these arguments, and he just made a big argument about what did he just talk about? He was just basically saying he did a whole thing about in order to see emptiness directly, you need this platform of meditative quietude. How's that? Meditative stability, quietude, shamatha. Okay. And he used this example, which I want to repeat because I think it's really important, is that he used this example of a lamp that's nighttime. You're trying to look at a picture on the wall. And I have a picture of the meditation poster on my wall. I'm going to bring you guys. Right. So here's a picture of Trijang Rinpoche's meditation poster. Okay. All the steps, right? I showed it in a PowerPoint, but I like real teaching, real materials, right? Okay. So let's imagine it's dark, right? So here we go. Can I make it dark? No, I cannot make it dark. All right. It's dark outside, right? You can't see it, right? And so you have a candle and you're like, I want to go look at this painting, right? And you bring the candle up to it and you start shining the light on it to look at it. And you have the window open and the wind's blowing, right? So it's blowing the candle, not enough to blow the candle out, but enough that the candle is flickering. Can you see the painting? Maybe a little bit. Maybe you'll get a flicker of light here or there, but the light's being pushed around everywhere. And so it's just like that in meditation. If your meditation is not still, your mind is like a candle in the wind. Thank you, Elton John. Okay. And you won't ever be able to have any realizations about very much because your mind can't still down, can't steady itself. And there are various stages of having a steady mind, of course. But if you can't slow down the mind, then you're not able then to see deeper aspects of reality. And it's only in meditation that you're able to make those deeper shifts. All right. Question: can you have shamatha outside meditation? No, not in this. You can have single pointed focus, which is Tingzen, but you can't have shamatha because shamatha is a meditative state by definition. You know. So that's what we're trying to get to. We're making these arguments to say, how many of you meditated today? Okay. I didn't. Well, I got up at 5 a.m. to teach you. Okay. But I will meditate later. You know, I'm just making a big argument for meditating and why you should do it on a regular basis. So let's move into the text. We're moving into the next section here. Let's see. Which one am I going to? Okay. We'll see how far we get today. Mm-hmm. For projection. There we go. All right, here we go. So we ended on this section talking about the butter lamp or the candle. All right. So next section, here we go. Let's have someone read. How about Marina? Kazakova.
Selma so schön vedruna.
Mm-hmm.
Чорнітка та не так. Компеток пацунла клієнтам пала.
Nice. Good job. Okay. So here comes more benefits. Where are my notes? There they are. So once again, if we achieve, moreover, if we achieve shamatha, okay, he's going to keep repeating this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we're going to keep hearing it. But if we achieve this, it'll be very easy to come to some realizations. So meditative realizations, gompe tok. What are some of those realizations? And these are very, very important Lam Rim meditations that have nothing to do with seeing emptiness directly. So this is a key point, and is the point why we're starting with meditation first. What is downjor? Does anyone know? It's a part of the Lam Rim. Anyone know? You can just scream it out. No one knows. Nice. It's leisure and fortune. So one of the first steps of the Lam Rim is about this idea of taking advantage or utilizing the leisure and fortune that you have by being born a human. And not only that, like, well, first of all, the idea in Buddhism is that there's very few types of beings who actually can have deep realizations about emptiness. Like, can your cat see emptiness directly? Probably not. Maybe, but probably not. If you're living a life of an animal running around trying to survive all day long, probably not. What about higher beings if you've taken like ACI 8, like form realm beings or formless realm beings? Are they able to do that kind of thing? And in Buddhism, we say no, because a form being, form realm being, everything is so wonderful. They have no suffering, very little of it. So they have very little motivation to do anything different. And the idea here is that there's certain types of beings are able to do this kind of work and be able to have these kinds of insights into reality. And within that class of beings, there's a certain kind of life you need to be able to practice. And we call that leisure and fortune, downjor. And just slightly different definitions in different places. But I would argue that even within the human realm, there's only some beings that are able to have the leisure and fortune to be able to practice, to be able to have the finances, the financial freedom, to have the time, to have the interest, to have the ability, to have the capacity, to do all of that. Like, how many beings on this planet are not able to? You think about that. Like, living in places where it's not possible, or just being so worried about where your next meal is coming from. There's all these different, it's very, very, very rare to be able to practice Lam Rim, to be able to practice meditation. to be able to take the time to develop that kind of insight of where things are coming from. You know, and it should hit you at some point that you are rare, and that there's a rareness and specialness to being able to even think like this. And and you can have a kind of pride, I think, but not like a bad pride. But this idea that like take advantage of the opportunity you have, because you never know when you won't have it. Like the opportunity to plant good seeds now, you don't know if you're going to get sick in a week. You don't know if you're going to die in a week. You don't know if you're going to be forced from your home in a week. And then you won't be able to meditate. Maybe. So that's the first realization that you get from shamatha. There's many, but that's one of them. The next one is called neka. And that's another realization on the Lam Rim path, which is mainly the idea that being born as a human was difficult. So you are a human and you have leisure and fortune. But then the next part is the difficulty just to find a human life. Just to find it in general is a very challenging thing. You know, to have those seeds ripen at the time of your previous life ending and then coming up as a human. They say it's as rare as if there's a turtle at the bottom of the ocean and someone puts a life preserver, I guess a life preserver, one of those round red things that float, and someone like throws it into the ocean randomly, and there's a random turtle at the bottom of the ocean, and that turtle decides to come up to the surface to get a breath of air. And if it just happens that that turtle comes up inside of the red ring, how exceedingly rare would that be? What is the statistical possibility, likelihood of, in all the oceans on the planet, you throw a red ring in it, and then there just happens to be one turtle somewhere in the ocean at the bottom, and that one turtle comes up to the surface once every million years, right? And it just happens to come up within that red ring. That improbability is what they say is the same improbability of being born as a human. That's depressing. But it's also, on the other side, it's also very motivating to say, this is your one and only chance, folks. All right. And then the third realization, mitak, which is oftentimes translated as impermanence, not unchanging. Mi is negative, tak means unchanging, so it's not unchanging, which means changing, which is an interesting play on in Tibetan. And you have to think about, why isn't changing thing, the word for a changing thing is mitak. It's a not unchanging thing. So you can think about that. But it's the realization of the impermanence of this life, mainly, is what that means in this case. Is that this life starts and this life ends, and you never know when it ends. You know, I said a story in another class about last week. A friend of mine had a car accident. Family in front of her, they slipped on the ice. The car turned. She ran into the cart because she got stuck on the ice, and then a little boy died, 11 years old. And the older brother took the little boy out of the car and carried him to the side, laid him down on the side of the road, having died. We have the leisure, like it's rare that we were born as a human. It's rarer that we have the leisure and fortune to practice. And then to recognize that the impermanence of this life it's staggering how quickly things start and stop. So you can argue all of those things and we could talk about them. But if you have those realizations using shamatha in your meditation, and those realizations come to you, the Gompe Dokpa, okay, when they come to you, it's a thing where you won't be able to forget it. And that's the idea of realization. That's what we mean by the word Tokpa, realization. It's something that once you have it, you don't forget it. But so we do practices to trigger that, like those little moments, like renunciation will appear, or the understanding of impermanence will appear when someone close to you dies. Like we all experience that, right? But then it fades over time. At least that's been my experience. Somebody dies and like you're like, oh, I need to make my life valuable. This is very short. And then 2 weeks later, I forget. That fades. It doesn't solidify. It's not like it doesn't solidify inside you. But when you have it, the realization of the Tokpa in meditation, then you don't ever forget it. And so that's one of the huge benefits of meditation. Okay. All right, moving on to the next line. Let's see. How about I can see Anastasia. Can you read this, please?
Okay, sorry. Can you hear that noises?
I don't hear any noises.
Okay. Lam le gon shedrup pe chir kepa sunkyang. Det son patsamle gope tsoboni shiba he. How?
Let's do that last part again. She
wa hole.
play.
Play.
Who
Nice.
who who is Shiva La?
Master Shantideva.
Master Shantideva, right? Hold on, the hotel's calling me. Okay. All right. So it's kind of a little weird that I made this sentence this way, but you'll see in a second. Okay. By the way, great reading. Lamdrun, does anyone know what this is? It's a text. Typically, when you see this construction here with the lay, and then you have a little comma, which is actually an end of a sentence, typically means that this means from, and then what's before it will be the name of a text, typically. What is Lam? I love you guys. Remember I fired you all last week? I'm still firing you. I'm looking at these. Come on, guys, get it right. You did it backwards last week. Let's go back to the beginning. I'm just playing. Lam Rim. Lam is a path. Rim are stages or steps. Okay, don't forget. There's 2 words. If you can't remember any words, remember Lam Rim. I know it takes some time. So path. So Lamdrun is the lamp on the path. Okay. Who wrote The Lamp on the Path? Someone famous.
Isha.
Who said that? I think I heard the answer. Can you say it again?
Atisha.
Atisha, correct. Lord Atisha. Okay. So in there, he says some fun stuff. He says, so does anyone know what nunche means? We're going to go into this kind of a fun little side discussion. Nunche are super magical powers, clairvoyant cities that you can attain through meditation. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, that's nice. W9. Okay. So it means like these shamatha can also give you extra powers, okay, extra capacities in your mind. And we're going to go through them in a second. So if you achieve shamatha, you can get these extra powers, right? But kyung, all right, sung means sung means, it kind of means it was said. All right. So basically, here's a grammar lesson, everybody. Between the lei and the sung, kind of indicates what was said in this. Almost, it could be a quote. Okay. In this case, I wasn't able to find it as a quote. It seems like Abonka Rinpoche is paraphrasing, but we're going to see if we can find it later. Okay. So these special power realization thingies can arise because of shamatha. These are abilities, super normal abilities that can happen because of your shamatha practice. And that should be a motivation, right? Right. He says, but it's only one of the reasons. Okay. So then, according to Shantideva, Shivala, the primary purpose, the primary reason for achieving shamatha, okay, now he's going to go off and tell us what Shantideva has to say. But I'm interested in, what are some of these benefits? What are some of these super normal, extraordinary powers that you can get? Okay. Which are a result of your shamatha. They're not something that you should strive to get. And if you do get them, that's great, but they're not the ultimate goal. All right. So this is just a motivational thing. You can get some of these things and they're wonderful to have. And it's great to be able to do them, but they're not the end goal in itself. So I went to Ben's book, which is The Great Ideas of the East, which has recently been published, and they are in there. And we're gonna make a footnote here. So here are the 6, and let's have, who hasn't read but would like to read? How about Laura Bordera? I know, don't make such a sad face.
I'm really rusty.
That's okay. Just make some noises.
La mig ji nong she la na wa we wa te san sem she pa te nom ne shepete nom ne je tra chetra jite
Jedran
jite jedran jite tu purul jite saksat
say
ki no
sakse
setse Katse ki nung. Shete nung she tuk.
Okay. Druk.
Druk.
Druk looks like
Druk.
drug in English. It means 6 in Tibetan. Okay. Nice job, Laura. All right. Here's the translation of that. We're not going to go through, we're not going to translate it ourselves. It's already been translated. So there's no reason to retranslate what was already published translation within the mixed nuts. Got it? I mean, we could do it for practice, but I just cut and pasted it. So the word that we're using for nunche is clairvoyant. So that's a straight up, things that your mind can do beyond the mind. Okay. So the first one is called eyes of the gods. So you're able to see death, the bardo, and rebirth of all living beings. So you're able to see the transit of beings between lives. It's kind of cool. The ears of the gods, which is something you're able to hear all sounds of the universe, great or small. And these things, these are the full form of these abilities, but these things can happen in smaller doses. Like, it's not like all of a sudden you see, death moving on in a rebirth, but you might have little glimpses. It's not like you'll be able to hear all sounds in the universe, but you'll start being able to hear things that other people can't hear. Another one is reading the thoughts of others. That's beneficial if you're trying to help them. It's annoying if you're just listening to the sounds of everything going on in everyone's mind. If you really listen to what's going on in everyone's mind, it would be chaos, right? But if you're able to focus it, you could use it to really help others. The fourth one is recalling past lives of yourself and others. That's kind of cool. Performing miracles, probably things like walking on water, walking through walls, healing people from sickness. And then the last one is finishing off all of your negative karmic impurities, all the impurities that you have in your mind. So that's kind of cool. So in the mixed nut standards, when they mention something like this, nungshe, you can achieve clairvoyances. We go and find out what it means. Okay, so we just don't say you can have it and then leave the reader hanging with, well, what are those clairvoyances, right? We go and find the answers. This took me half an hour last night to find it and then do all that stuff. But it's relevant. Like it's important that we do all that. Okay, so let me go back here. I'm going to put this down here. That makes more sense. Okay, so we basically just said, look, with shamatha, you can get all these cool superpower things. Who's excited? Okay. If you can't get, Joanna's like, that's awesome. So if you can't get yourself on the meditation cushion, it's a great idea to think, wow, I could develop those capacities if I just put my butt down on this cushion every day for 5 minutes. Right? So it's just a benefit, but it's not the goal. Anyway, so we say that's only one small thing. And then Shanti Deva says the primary goal is, and then here's a quote to here. Who wants to read that? How about Sandra?
Me?
Yeah, tú.
Yeah. Okay. Shine rap tu dan pe lacton gis nyon
Nice.
he.
Yep.
Okay. Nyon mon Nampe, Jompe, ¿no?
Par, nampar.
Par, Jompar,
Mhm.
Che, Via, no, I don't know. How you
You're
say
close.
this?
You were not even close. Ja, J.
Ya, Yene,
Yes.
Tokmar, Si, Ne, no, I don't know. Chia, I don't know. Chal, how you say this?
Salja.
Chalja, Se, Num, Pa.
Okay, good. Good job. Okay.
Thank you.
So I also looked this up last night to verify the quote. And this part is the actual quote from Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. However, there's a problem. Wonder if someone can see what the problem is. How many syllables are in each line? Shi ne rabtu denpa laktongi. There's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Second line. Nungmon nampar jompar sheje ne. There's 9. Tokmar shi ne salja. Where's the rest? There's 3 words missing. Okay. I was like, what the heck? And then I saw what Trijang Rinpoche did when he wrote it, is he added 3 more words that are not part of the quote to give meter to those 3 lines. Okay. I don't know if you guys think that's cool. I think it's cool. This is why I did my graduate degree in philosophy and textual analysis. I had some sort of seed for it. Okay. But the actual quote, and it's good to know, is that this is the actual quote, and that it's from the 8th chapter of the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And I should have written a footnote, which I didn't, but we will include a footnote later. But then they added these 3 other words. That means that's what it was said, or it's like this was said. Okay. All right. What do those lines mean? Let's go in here. Oh, I put a footnote in my notes. Okay. By the way, so this is what the full quote looks like. Just for you all to see it. That's what the last 3 words are Deyang Ni. All right. So let's translate. So that first line, I'm just going to copy my translation because I'm proud of it, because it's easier. All right. So Laktong is Vipassana, right? Laktong is the insight that comes from having shamatha. All right. So Shine here, Rabtu Denpe is kind of like strongly linked together. Like it's almost connected. Right. And so I'm saying through the insight of Vipassana, linked with single pointed focus of shamatha. That's what this first line means. Nungmon is, this is a hard word for me to pronounce. Negative emotions, afflictions, kleshas, all of them will be destroyed. Jompa. Okay. Tokmar first, Shinid Shalja, you must pursue or look after or go after shamatha. Okay. It's just another quote proving his point, right? So Pamukha Rinpoche keeps going on and on and on and on about why we need shamatha first. And then he's like, oh, don't take my word for it. Here's what Master Shantideva says. Master Shantideva said this back in, when did Master Shantideva live? Does anyone remember? Those of you taking the course. Don't embarrass me in front of my teacher. When did Shanti Day? Yes, about 700 AD-ish. Ish. It's an ish. Okay, right. Okay. All right, moving on. And again, this is just commentary on it, basically saying Dayin Pe Tokmar Shine Druk Gudla. The purpose of shamatha, the purpose of achieving shamatha first is all of that before. Okay. So again, he's just reiterating over and over and over again that we need shamatha first. We need to meditate first. And if that wasn't enough, here comes some more. We already said this. How about, let's see here. I don't know all of you people. Let's select Maria Nestorov to read this next line.
Deyang sem ke ki che ko narmi dok par ne chi
Good par.
gu par
Mm-hmm.
ne chi kang du trup yang chok.
Right. Good job. Deyang, moreover. What's semke?
Living being.
Semke pani shendun chir yang jak sope janchubju. Bodhicitta. Okay. Semke is bodhicitta. J means after. So what this whole thing is saying is that achieving samatha is not something you only do, whose only purpose, whose only purpose is to have it after achieving bodhicitta. It's something that you can do at any point in your practice. Okay. You can, so basically the idea is that people think that shamatha is something you attain at the end or after bodhicitta or after all these realizations. This is just another point to say you can pursue it at any point in your practice. And that's why we're doing it first. And that's why Pabonka Rinpoche is kind of keep going off on it. All right, next line. Let's have, who would like to read? How about Alona?
De grupna tengpa sum ni nyam slem gang doms
Gom.
bom
Mm-hmm.
kyang sa chot shintu cheba ong.
Nice. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. If you achieve shamatha, tekpasum, the three vehicles. What are the three vehicles? Lower scope, medium scope, and higher scope. So the three different types of practitioners. The lower vehicle, which is mainly geared at you having a higher rebirth or getting out of the suffering life, you only. The medium scope is mainly geared towards achieving nirvana for yourself. And then the third scope is bodhicitta for all living beings. Okay. Nam Len is the practices. Okay. So what this is, and then Gom is meditation. Kangom, whatever meditation you do of the practices of the three great vehicles, this last part, Sacha Shintu Chewa Ong. you can make great progress on the path in whatever you choose to practice in the three vehicles. Meaning, basically, Papankar Rinpoche is saying, it doesn't matter what part of the path you're on, from the beginning to all the way to the end, shamatha is the key ingredient to push everything through. Without it, the implicit thing is saying, without it, none of the realizations are possible. Okay, is everyone excited about meditation? All right. And now we're going to start getting onto the actual instructions. All right. We finally got everything we need to know. We need to know shamatha is necessary for everything. Okay. That's what he says. It's just everything. Anything in your spiritual path that you want to accomplish, you need meditation for. So get on your cushion, put your butt down there, start meditating. Then he's like, okay, now that we did all of that, everyone agree? Good, we're on the same page. Now we're going to start talking about how do we do it? Because now we've finished the benefits, now we're going to discuss how to do it. And let's have Yulia read.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Which one? Tela? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Tela tokmar shi neki tok ten go ki teme parmi chukte lam chunle.
Okay, couple things. Excellent reading. You must be studying with Word. Mindrup. This prenasal gives you a mindrup. All right.
Thank you.
Good job. So, in order to reach shamatha, we must collect together all the necessary, what did I say here? All the necessary conditions. Sokten. All right. So first, we must put together all the conditions. Okay. They may part. Without them, we won't be able to do it. Okay. So it's very simple. So now we're getting into some clear instructions. Now we need to get all the necessary conditions together. What does Lam Rim mean? We just learned it 4 lines ago.
The lamp on the path.
Yes, the lamp on the path, right. Where is it there? Lamp on the path. In or from the lamp on the path. So we have another quote by Lord Atisha. Here we go. Let's have, how about Janine read? Oh no, oh no. Are you translating or no? Okay. I don't think we can hear you. Nope. That's how you get out of reading, everybody. Just move your mouth as though you can, as though your microphone's not working. No, that's fine. Nope.
Okay.
Can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, no, now I can.
Oh, okay.
There, you came back.
Okay. Okay. Sina yang la nam yampa rap to ba de gom ya yang. Oh Gott.
Jay.
Okay. Loning.
Jake Young.
Huh. Oh, can you repeat it?
Jake Young. Jay.
Jack Young. Okay. Loning Tong Prag Dagi Kyang.
Hmm?
Okay. Ting Zin Grupami Gyoro.
Nice. Good job.
Okay.
You
Thank
just
you.
read some Shantideva, or you just read some Lord Atisha. Nice job. Okay. What does he have to say here? All right. So I'm going to go to the second line. Even with great efforts in meditation. So even if you're trying really, really, really hard, okay, that's what this kyang means here. Even if you're trying really, really hard, but the conditions, or the yenlok is more like branches, but the conditions, even if you try really hard, the conditions of shamatha are imperfect. So if you're trying hard, but the conditions that we brought together are not perfect yet, are not complete or imperfect. You can be meditating for 1,000 years. Okay. Long Nitong. You can be doing this for 1,000 years. And your single pointed Tinningsin, your single pointed mind will still not happen. Okay. It's kind of depressing, right? It's another way of motivating us to do it. Okay. So basically what we're saying is that even if you try really hard, but don't have the 6 conditions in place, you could meditate for 1,000 years, and having single pointed focus will still be elusive to you. You still won't be able to achieve it. That's depressing. Okay. But so the idea then is, if you put these 6 conditions together, you can help speed up the process to get to where is he? There he is. To get up there to shamatha. He's at the top. All right. What are those 6 conditions? I'm going to read them to you, and we're going to do the I'm just going to read those 6 conditions to you, and then that's where we'll pause for today. So here they are, and then class will be over. Where did you go? Okay. So we're going to start right here. Dena dangposhine ki sokten paladruk. The 6 conditions of shamatha. Okay. The first one, tumpe yunan nepa. The first one is a safe and favorable place to do your meditation. The second one, dupa chungwa, having few desires, like keeping your wants in check. Chokshepa. So keeping your desires in check. Number 3 is the opposite, being satisfied with what you have. Java Mangpoi Dunsi Yung Su Pangwa. Pangwa is giving up. So 4 mainly means giving up being too busy, giving up doing lots of different things. Java Mangpo. Okay. Number 5 is Sotram Dakpa, leading an ethical way of life, leading a pure ethical way of life. And number 6, Dupala Sokpe Namtok Yongsu Pangwao, giving up attraction to desirous objects of the senses and giving up your desire for worldly pleasures. So those are the 6 things that we have to do to get ourselves into a place to have shamatha. And it's really interesting. I think they're all very interesting, and we're going to go into each one very in detail. He goes through each and every one of them. One of them, for me, the most interesting one is number 5, is leading a pure ethical way of life. There's some deep connection between having a good ethical way of life, taking care of other people, and reaching shamatha, being able to sit and meditate. And we will learn about that starting next week. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for coming to this class. I very much like that there are people who want to watch me translate. It's fun. It's very exciting that we're here. And also what I really want to emphasize is this is for you and your life, right? If you can achieve a deep state of meditation, you can have all those realizations and you can make things better for you and for others. So that's why we're doing this. So thanks everyone for coming. And yeah, see you next week. Let's say goodbye.
Bye. Adiós, Maestro Tim.
Bye-bye, Carla.
Vielen Dank. Auf
Bye.
Wiedersehen.
Muchas gracias.
Adiós, muchas gracias.
Please, as redzēšanos.
Tschüss.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye.